joining me on this Life Lesson Friday episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. And this episode, I wanted to start off by saying it's brought to you by the Root Brands, Zero In, and Restore products. They have a lot more. I've used Clean Slate. They have a lot of other products as well to help your body get healthy. But I use Zero In and Restore on a daily basis to help me with my performance because Zero In is helping you with your focus of your brain and giving you the correct uh, nutrients to be able to have those the neurotransmitters and chemicals that you need going on in your body. And Restore helps you repair and restore, as it's called, all the things that you break down throughout your day, whether you're exercising as an athlete or just going through your day. So you can visit therootbrands.com/confidence through health to learn more about the things that they offer. But what I want to talk about today is actually it's the quote that I started the introduction of my book, No More Sugarcoating, with, and it's a P.T. Barnum who was famous in his day before he passed away. And his quote is, "No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else." And it's so true that if your goal is to be like someone else and being like identical to them, you're not going to make that much of a difference or an impact. And it's okay to have somebody to follow as a mentor to try and emulate the success that they've had, to set up your life to follow that person. If you're wanting to be a doctor, you're gonna follow along with doctors. You're gonna see what they do. They're gonna mentor you. They're gonna give you advice. But living your life exactly like someone else is going to prevent you from making a difference because they've already done it. And so what we need from each one of us is to live a life that connects to our values, as I've talked about in the previous episode. So once we know what our values are, and I talk about that in No More Sugarcoating, the book, it's Finding Your Happiness in a Crowded World is the subtitle. And the book is based about being able to cut the sugarcoating off of your life. Stop living what the society that you're in says to live. Find out who you are, and then go shine that light out in the world and impact people in a positive way. Help those people. So you're raising the tide of everybody. You're the ripple effect of you impacting people. They're going to see that and they're going to go, I can live my life the way that I want to based on my values and still be impactful, still be able to fit into society. And one of the things I was telling one of my clients this morning is it's you've got to make the difference between like a human being by themselves can be really smart, can be really able to figure things out, can be logical about the way things are done, but the mob mentality of people in society in a group setting, a mob is I think it's maybe Samuel Clemens or Mark Twain said something to the effect of people in general are stupid because the mob itself is going to make bad decisions, is going to go to violence, is going to go to things that don't, when you step back, go, oh, I can't believe that that happened. I can't believe that we went there. And you just think about it like in celebration times, whether it's a sporting team that won and you're excited about, or where it's a big group of people all excited about the same thing. Um, there turns to be there's riots, there's fires, there's people are destroying things, and it's like we started out in celebration mode, but then the mob mentality took over, and nobody in their right mind would celebrate their sports team winning by setting a car on fire or shooting a gun at police or doing things like that that have been reported over and over and over is happening in real life situations. And so what we want to do though is peel back to being who we are. We want to understand that we're an individual. We want to understand that we need to be different in order to make an impact. And that impact could be huge, that impact could be small. And one of the things that I strive for is my goal is to just impact one person. If I can impact one person, then I'm making a difference, right? And so everything I do is based on, and I know that could be like, oh my gosh, that's small potatoes, or you're thinking too small, or you need to, as some people say, you need to 10x or 100x that thinking. And I understand where that mindset comes from, but I also don't want to get too big for my britches and say, oh, I'm able to do all of these things when my goal is simply just to help someone. And if I can do that, then that makes me happy. That brings me joy. That makes me successful. Um, and I know the rest of everything else will fall into place. And I don't do that by following anybody else. I don't do that by saying exactly what somebody else says. I don't do that by agreeing 100% with one person that I'm following or that's out there that does have a bigger impact and a bigger sphere of influence than I do. So what I do is say, here's what I believe. And you may ask me like, hey, do you believe what so and so believes? And I say, I believe what a lot of they say, but probably not everything. Or, oh, I believe a little bit of what this person says, but there's a lot of what they say that I don't agree with. And I can explain it to you and tell you why. And that's where we need everyone to be, is being able to explain the differences between what they believe and what they don't believe in a peaceful way, right? And and when we can get there, all of society is going to benefit from it. But the key is being able to understand that, as this quote says, we have to live our own life, right? No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else, right? The peer pressure to follow along, I know is huge. I've got teenagers, they're living it right now. I understand that. I've lived through it. I understand it, right? So the peer pressure to follow along with what everybody else is doing, but nobody ever made a difference by being that person um, who's just like everybody else. You're going to make a difference when we get to see who you are, and you're going to impact people. And not everybody, but you're going to impact people. And I see it on a daily basis now with my own life because whether I go to the grocery store, I go to, whatever outing, I go to sporting events, I'm just out on the street. I've had people, I'm out on the street, whether it's on a walk or on a run, and I've had people that don't know me that just comment on, you're doing great, you're doing awesome, I wish I could do what you do. Like, it's making an impact, and I've got one client of mine that we get together multiple times a week and we walk around his neighborhood as a start and finish of his workout. And he said the other people on his block have all started walking more. And they've told him that and they've noticed it and that he's seen them doing it. The other people on his block are walking more because he's walking more and he's making an impact in their lives without ever saying a word to them, without ever suggesting that they need to do it. And that's because he's living a different life than he was before. He's not trying to live the same life that everybody else that does his profession or does that's in his situation is trying to do. He's living his own life. He said, I need to make a choice. I need to make a change. I'm going to start walking. I'm going to start exercising. And these are the things I'm going to do. And it's creating a ripple effect in his sphere of influence. And that's what we need people to do is become who you are. Become who you are. First, you got to find out who you are. But then once you find out who you are and what you value, you need to become those things. Um, and so when you can do that, you can live a life without sugarcoating. You can live your life. You can live a happy life that's outside of the crowd that is not impacted by the ups and downs and swings of things that really don't impact your life anyway. But when you're set in the crowd, you're all you're going to do is go into the peaks and the valleys based on what society tells you you should be upset with or you should be happy about, or the interest rates are going to change your life, when the interest rates are not going to change your life unless you're buying something and you need to borrow money. What the interest rates are on mortgages, for instance, if you already own a house and you're doing fine, you can pay the payments, you're not looking to refinance, you're not looking to do anything, then what happens with the interest rates has zero effect on your life. But yet, if you're following along with society, you're going to be stressed about the interest rates, or you're going to be like, oh my gosh, the interest rates are going up. Oh my gosh, it's going to change everything. No, it doesn't change everything. Are there subtle impacts to your life because of the way that commerce works? Yes. But the impact on your life is very minimal. If you're buying a house or looking to buy a house and the interest rates are going up, the impact could be big, right? If you're looking to move to a different city because you've got a job offer somewhere else and the interest rates are higher, it can make an impact for sure. Of course it can. But if you're not in that situation, you need to know who you are, what you're dealing with, what's going to impact your life, what you value, what are the things that are going on in your life right now that do have the outreach into the different parts of society, so that you can live a less stressed life based on knowing who you are and what you want to get out of it. And then you can impact people because you're more focused on the things that drive you, that you value, instead of just all these other things that are stressing you out and really have zero impact on your life. But because society says you should be stressed out about them, you're stressed out about them. So the life lesson is, don't live your life like everybody else. Don't live your life trying to be exactly like somebody else, because it's going to backfire on you and you're going to find yourself. You may be successful. I'm not telling you you can't be. You may be successful copying somebody else exactly. Because obviously if they were successful and you copy them exactly and do everything, like, yeah, the success can come, but it's society's success, and it may not be the success that makes you happy. And you may wake up one day going, how in the heck did I get here? Because this is not what I wanted for my life. So trying to avoid that happening is where we want to be and what we want to do in a daily, in the moment decision making process, strategy, looking at the future. We still want to have goals, we still want to have plans, we still want to have all those things, but we need to make sure that they're ours and not somebody else's. So that's the life lesson for this episode of the Confidence Journal podcast.